What's up, brothers and sisters? It's your brother G World 7_D. I wanted to make a quick video, real quick, quick response to a couple people who came onto one of my videos when I talk about the Appalachian, or the Black Appalachian Indians. That video I did, I'll say last week. Um, there was a few idiots that came on there. One idiot said it's elementary research, whatever. None of my stuff is elementary. I go in depth because I've been studying this for years, but look at the clown's page, and he subscribed to Sarnetta, Ma'at, and all those Pan African clowns. The misinformation Negroes. So, I anyone who's pushing elementary researchers and clowns who's still telling you that you come from a slave ship from Africa, I have broken down in my videos thoroughly on who we really are and what the capabilities that our ancestors had and what they done did. Our ancestors not only smelted iron, but they was mining for gold all through the Americas. This is old information, man. But when you don't do the research and you do simple-minded things, you have an elementary mindset, pushing an elementary agenda like Pan-Africanism, this is what you get. All right. So I want to emphasize that the importance of knowing our true history and study our true history is not go along status quo. So I didn't really watch that debate between Ali and Jabari. To me, it's worthless because Jabari is an idiot, and all he's going to do is attack the sources and scholars or the people who wrote about the individuals or painted pictures of the individuals during that time. All he's going to do is uphold individuals, historians, archaeologists, a modern day era who are racist as hell, who promote a racist agenda, and who basically is status quo. And this has come from a Negro who's affiliated with a university that's on land that was stolen from black people, Aboriginal black Indians, and built by black slaves. That's what most of those Ivy League schools were built by black slaves. And in old Aboriginal black Indian lands. And the disgusting part is most of those traditional scholars would sit there and tell you that Egypt was a non-black civilization. They'll try to tell you that Lower Egypt was white or mixed, and Upper Egypt was Negro, and all that crazy talk, trying to say it was multiracial. It wasn't no multiracial, it was all Negroes. But then you look at them as credible. But when people actually said that the people were straight up black, then you try to attack their credibility. This was these stupid Pan-Africans would do. I have no respect for most of them, man, because they continue to miseducate and lie to our people about who we are. And I'm going to say this now. Jabari is of an immigrant lineage, and that's not all like that. I'm going to say that's not all like that. But he has no business trying to tell Aboriginal black Americans who we are. Same thing for Umar Johnson. He's very disrespectful. And he received most of his money from Aboriginal black Americans. It's very disgusting what he's done. Also, there's some Africans who are getting offended by what we're doing. What are you getting offended by? How we identify ourselves? That's enough for you to get offended over. Technically, it's none of your business. We identify who we are. We're not like saying that we're not, quote, black. I mean, some people are saying that, but let's be real. So-called black people have been all over the world. We are Aboriginal of this world. Now I'm getting goofy people coming there talking about the original people, the Lumbees were blue-eyed people, trying to say they was white, even though the original blue eyes come from black people. You can be jet black skin and have blue eyes, because original blue eyes come from black people. You see some in the Pacific Islands, and you see some in Australia, jet black people with blonde hair and blue eyes. What are you talking about? That trait started coming around black people around like 10,000 years ago. What are you talking about? So when you get these people saying the dumb things, man, they're saying a lot of dumb stuff. This is why you really need to study history. I'm getting these goofy white people, these mestizos, these Eurasians, saying the most dumbest stuff, man. Because these people claim that we steal their culture, but they've been stealing from us. Well, the Chickasaw took in the black slaves. That's why we look black. No, 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 no. They were originally Negroes because those Negroes, it was a strong base of the Aboriginal Black Indians in Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina and Florida. A strong base of black Aboriginal Negroes down there. They weren't no, quote, Eurasian or pale-faced Mongoloid. Those are straight up Negroes. And plus also black people come in various different physical, facial structures, all right, as well as hair textures. So we did not have one physical facial structure. So let's be clear with that. Our facial structures come in various different types come in very different types and looks. So for us to sit there and say we look one way is ignorant as hell. So when you listen to people like Jabari and Unc and them, they are really ignorant, man. They are truly ignorant. And yeah, I pull up from periodicals, journals. I can hit you with it all, but I'm basically giving you books. And what I'm doing is not elementary research. See, only an idiot and jackass and typical Pan-African will come on my page and say that. But this shows you how ignorant and desperate, how in panic mode those Negroes are, because that stuff is dying out. Good riddance, because we don't need it. It's not good for us. It's giving us some misinformation. We need to know our full and true history. And our history does not start here in Americas on the bottom of a ship and being brought over as slaves. That is ignorant. See, these fools want to just go over to Egypt and study Egypt. And then after that is a gap. Then West Africa. Then there's a gap. Then we're brought over as slaves. That makes no sense. You have to connect the dots. You have to understand that people sailed around the world. You have to understand, they had mega lakes over in Africa. You had many different lakes and rivers here in America that dried up. You had them selling, but we had the wherewithal to sail ships. We traveled the seas within these continents and around them. We knew how to circumnavigate the damn planet. We knew about the wind currents, how they flowed and how they pulled. Like a conveyor belt. They pulled, all right? We knew about that. Our ancestors knew about the different wind currents and how they said and how we use it. We even know how to break against the wind currents. We had high, sophisticated technology. But when some idiot, most of these Pan-Africans, want to teach you that you were just too ignorant to have the technology or the intellectual fortitude to have done that. See, a simpleton cannot teach you this or talk about this. A simpleton, we're not talking about smelting iron. A simpleton, we're not talking about using dynamite, ancient form of explosions, to blow into caves and create caves and to carve into caves, smelting iron. Simpleton will not teach you that. A simpleton would teach you that you just come from Africa. They're wearing dashiki today, talking about go back to Africa when their black ass is not from Africa. That's a simpleton. And that's the problem with Pan-Africanism. There's too many gaps and holes. And unfortunately, people like Jabari, all right, like I said, I come from tons of educators in my family. I mentioned before, one of my great aunts was the first black female district superintendent in her region in a southern state. All right. Father was an educator. Aunt was educated. Sister's an educator, PhD. Another sister with a medical degree. And I had a cousin who was a principal, doctor, PhD. I have a cousin who's an attorney. Like I said, one of my great grandfathers was a veterinarian. So I had that all through my family. So I don't need a simpleton, stupid, ignorant Pan-African to come on my page, man, and try to make dumb statements. Or these ignorant white folks who don't know nothing. Or these mestizos. Or these fake Eurasians who want to hijack your history. Because pale-faced people are not indigenous to nothing. Because they would not survive in hot climate. Because Peru was too damn hot. Ancient Florida was too damn hot. Ancient Mississippi was too damn hot for pale-skinned people to be there. This is simple right here to even comprehend that, but it did not take a simpleton to do this research. It took years of research and basically compare and contrast, analyzing the data, and then coming up, spitting out the information, which I've done. I should pat myself in the back, but I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to say is this. Brothers and sisters, continue to learn your history, because there's these forces out here who don't want you to know your true history. There's forces out here who are dangerous, who do not want you to know your true history. There are similarities between these brothers and sisters around the world, because many of these brothers and sisters trade amongst each other, shared ideas, or they were originally in certain areas and they spread it out. That's why I say they're similar. That's why I showed you the sister in India. That's why I showed you the picture of the Chickasaw. That's why I also showed you some images of Ma'at. There's similarities because a lot of these people originated in one area, then they spread out. This is why you have to study. This is why Pan-Africanism is flawed, because it only talks about Egypt and then Negroes selling over here in small numbers. No, there was a large number of people selling here to the Americas back and forth, traveling the world. There's very different groups of blacks that sailed over here to the Americas. All right, there's various different. The original Vikings were black. All right, just like the original Egyptians were black. I know that comes to a pain and shock to the mixed breeds today, but let me think about this. When you look at a lot of those modern day Egyptians, when you look at a lot of those white people who you find in Israel today, when you look at a lot of mestizos, many of these people look the same. What does that add up? They're basically a black-white mixture. Many of them look the same, man. Many of them look the same. Because they are black-white mixtures. Deep black-white mixtures. That's all they are. They're not indigenous to nothing. They're the result of slave masters raping slaves. So I want brothers and sisters to understand this. There's a concerted effort not for you to know this information, to bury your Aboriginal Black American history. And your black boule not going to talk about this, because them Negroes, head stuck up deep in their ass, all they do is think about themselves being African, and then you even try to challenge that. They boast and brag about their degrees from the University of Michigan, of Harvard, Princeton, Howard, Morehouse. I graduated from Cal Berkeley. They brag about these Negro institutions or these racist white institutions where they were highly indoctrinated and miseducated at. They brag about that. And I'm just sitting there laughing and seeing how stupid they really are. Because they really have not done no full research. I said before in other videos, all these Negroes have done is knew how to memorize information and just regurgitate. Just like you put information in an old computer, they just spitting out the information that you process in. They're not critically thinking or evaluating. They're just reading something for face value and spitting it back out. The original blonde-haired people of this world and blue-eyed people of this world were Negroes. They weren't white. White folks come from black people. So-called Asians come from black people. All these other groups come from black people. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with the word black. Now, I hear some people talking about black is this, black is that. Black. No. There's nothing wrong with black. Please trust me. There's nothing wrong with black. There's nothing wrong with it. All right, I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you don't want to use it, it's fine. I really don't care. Okay, as long as you realize this, that the Aboriginal people of this planet were black people, and most so-called black Americans, we do not look like West Africans. We do not. There may be a few, but most of us do not look like West Africans. So stop lumping us all and say we want. Even in Africa itself, there's people who travel around. Came from the southern part of Africa and went to West Africa, or west to east, or east to west, or east to central, or to southern part. They traveled. Give yourself, have some pride in yourself. Give yourself some open space of understanding that our people travel around the world. They weren't landlocked. When I read you this information, when I start going back and forth, then I start repeating it. I want you to catch certain things that I'm saying. Because the information is right in your face. Right in your face. These names are right in your face. Lumbee, Geechee, Appalachee, Lenape. These names, the very sounding of these names are right in your face, man. They tell you who the hell the people were. They sure as hell with no blue-eyed, blonde-haired, pale people. That's a lie. This stuff is right in your face. It literally right in your face. But some Negroes do not want to hear it because the white teachers did not teach them, or the Negro teacher at Stanford did not teach them that, or the Negro teacher at Harvard did not teach them that, so they don't believe nothing because they don't know how to critically evaluate information and basically know how to critically think for themselves and to come up with an answer and a solution on their own instead of just depending on some fake-ass, fraudulent-ass professor from their university. This is why you have to understand your true history. You're not descendant of African slaves. I said before in my videos, many of our people were made into slaves, but they're mostly prisoners of war, all right? They're prisoners of war. I said that before, but people come on my page, man, they start saying stuff, man. Okay, whatever. I said that before they were prisoners of war, but they were made into slaves, but they were prisoners of war. Yes, I said that originally in my stuff. But you brothers and sisters got to understand, when you listen to people like Jabari or the Amara Squad or the Dr. Ma'ad, those Negroes don't know what they're talking about because they have not done no research. They're just regurgitating everything they read from Dr. Ben. His books were written back in the 50s and 60s, and I'm not knocking all that. You can get some good information. But the point is that them guys, all they do is talk about ancient Egypt, ancient Egypt, ancient Egypt. And nothing wrong to talk about. We need to talk about that because we are linked to that. But in the same instance, though, we are descendant of the Aboriginal blacks of the original Egypt that was here in America. And that is something, unfortunately, many of these black scholars don't talk about. So, like I said before, I come from a family of scholars, man. I don't need no Negro to come and tell me what I know. Because I know all the BS that you're being taught in school. I know all the lies that you've been taught in school. I know the misinformation that's been taught in school. And I want our people to stop listening. I keep saying this. Stop listening to these Pan-African charlatans. Stop listening to them. Because they give you misinformation, man. Everything is African. Like I said, when they dig up an old artifact in Europe, that's an African. Right there, you label it as a foreigner. Here in America, Louisiana, you found a bunch of Negroes in Louisiana wearing feathers on their head. These are obviously Indians, but they're Negro. The skull's a Negro. They're African. So you're making Aboriginal blacks into foreigners. That's what they're doing. So they already label them as foreigners when they dig them up. See, no simpleton would tell you this. See, a simpleton would continue to say that you just from Africa and that the bulk of you brought over here in the slave ship. That's what a simpleton would tell you. These people are panicking. They're in fear that their Pan-African hustle is ending and is dying out. And thank goodness. Thank goodness. It has to go. We are descendant of Aboriginal blacks here. And these Negroes who don't like it need to shut up. And as for Jabari and Garfield, they're not of our lineage, but like I said, not all think that way, man. Not all think that way, but those Negroes are telling us who the hell we are. To call ourselves is very disrespectful, man. They are ignorant, man, and they are enemies to our people. They are enemies to our people and of our true struggle. I want to say that. I want to say that big time. Learn your true damn history. Stop listening to these Pan-African charlatans. Stop listening to them, man. I presented too much information. I've showed you different books. And then when I read you and I showed you and I give you the similarities how these names sound. Saniki, Malinki, that's from Mali. Saniki, Malinki, that's from Mali. Malinchi, a princess over part of the Aztecs. Azteca. But yet you have a bunch of mestizos want to claim the culture. That has nothing to do with them. And yeah, you get these Negroes on the sideline. Yeah. That coach is nice. I wish African American was coaching. What is African American? Because your ass is not African. You are an Aboriginal American, but you're not an African. And if some people are offended by that, just so hell be it. But don't you ever tell me who the hell I am. I know who the hell I am. And that I don't not to be labeled as no foreigner or need to be labeled as a foreigner when this is my land. I'm going to tell you this again to a lot of some of you black people who are foreign extraction, who do not get it. I think you need to take a seat and shut the hell up because you're being very disrespectful now. And that's what Jabari's doing. That's what Garfield's doing. And I said this doesn't apply to all. This doesn't apply to all, but that's what some of them are doing. So I want to say, you brothers and sisters, peace and love. I love you, and over and out. Peace.